Good morning everyone and welcome to Paradise Wildlife Park and this morning's live. I'm Aaron and I'm joined by Cara and up in the tree there, Tilly the red panda. And hopefully Tilly's going to come down, but we're going to be talking to Cara a little bit about what makes red pandas such an awesome animal species, everything about Tilly and of course her cub as well. Alright, come on in. Awesome. So Cara, we can just see Tilly up in the back of it. So what's she eating on this morning so far?
So she's been picking at her bamboo a bit this morning. So it is one of her favourite foods, as most pandas are. They love bamboo. So she's been munching on the leaves today, and she's just having a good little snack. We have got some fruit for her, but she seems a bit more interested in the bamboo this morning.
Brilliant. Now, obviously they have the name Panda in the title of their name. Is that because they're related to giant pandas?
No, not at all, which is very strange. So giant pandas are part of the bear family, whereas red pandas are a family all of their own. They've got no close living relatives anymore. So they're both called panda though, because it's a mispronunciation of a Nepalese word ponya, and that means bamboo eater. So that's why they were both given the name, because they both eat a lot of bamboo.
And where would red pandas naturally come from?
So they come from the Himalayan mountains, so they span a couple of countries like China and Nepal. So they live in the lowlands of the mountains, up in the forests.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, they've got this beautiful red coloration. Is there only one kind of red panda?
So they've actually recently discovered with a new study that there are two species of red pandas. There's the Himalayan red panda and the Chinese red panda. So yeah, they are now genetically distinct from each other.
And is there any kind of like major differences between them, or is it?
Nothing too major, so it's just a slightly different coloration, slightly different pattern on the face, and slightly different size, but otherwise they are very similar, which is why it's taken so long to sort of distinguish them.
Fantastic. I can see you've got a little box just in your hand. What else aside from bamboo would Tilly eat?
So Tilly, we give her a few different things. So what I've got here is some nectarine. So she really enjoys fruit. It's a nice little tasty treat for her. So it's not a main part of her diet because it is quite sugary, but it's a nice thing that we can use for her training as a nice little reward for her. So she really does enjoy that. So she particularly loves like grapes and blueberries and nectarine and all the sugary fruit as well. Awesome.
Now, obviously, she's had a cub recently. How does the cub seem to be doing?
Yeah, so the cub seems to be doing really, really good. So it's getting bigger every day. It's starting to get proper little markings, like a proper little panda. It's got a little ringed tail and the red markings on the face, which is really cute. And yeah, it's starting to try and find its feet a bit, taking a few wobbly steps around in the box. So yeah, it's looking really good.
And is this the first cub Tilly's had?
No, so Tilly in the past, with one of our previous males, she's had 4 cubs in total, so 2 sets of twins. So she's an excellent mum already. She's really experienced. We always knew she'd do really well with this cub, because she's done it in the past. So yeah, she's a super mum and she's really attentive to the cub.
And obviously the cub being such a young age, whereabouts would the cub be in the habitat right now?
So the cub is in one of the boxes, so they stay in the boxes for about 3 to 4 months, just while they sort of grow up, they start to find their feet, and then after that they'll start to sort of come out the box, try and experience the world for a bit. But for now, nice and safe in the box, so Tilly can come out, get some food, go back in and know it's safe and cosy in there.
And does the cub stay in just one box?
So Tilly will move the cub around quite a lot, so she'll just relocate it to a different nest. That's a completely normal behaviour, so we don't know why, but on occasion she'll think, oh, that box will be a bit better. So yeah, she'll move it around normally over night time, so we're not usually here to see it, but we've got cameras around the enclosure so we can keep an eye on her and keep track of where she's keeping it.
And do you have cameras in the dens as well?
Yep, so we've got cameras in the den so we can keep an eye on the cub all times, we can see how it's developing, so it's a really useful non-invasive way of doing it, so it means that Tilly can just crack on doing what she does best, looking after the cub, and we're just there to keep an eye in case we're needed.
So I can imagine it's probably a huge help from a welfare perspective and a keeper husbandry perspective to have the cameras dotted around the exhibit?
Yes, really, really important, because we're not here most of the day, as much as we'd love to be watching that cub all day. That'd be amazing. But yeah, we've got a lot of other animals to look after, so it's really useful to have the footage so we can go back, we can check things, as well as keep an eye on it live. So yeah, it's really important for a husbandry aspect.
Brilliant. And how long have you been working with Tilly?
So I've been here just over 3.5 years now. So yeah, I started on the primate section and then we merged with the small mammals, so I got the pleasure of working with Tilly as well, which was super amazing. I was really excited to be able to work with the small mammals.
And what's the day-to-day like as a keeper working with red pandas?
So yeah, it's pretty simple. As I say, Tilly just sort of sorts herself out, so we'll just pop in, we'll put out some fresh bamboo for her a couple of times throughout the day, and yeah, she just sort of has a nice snooze throughout most of the day, to be honest, and yeah, spends a lot of time in the box with the cub at the moment.
And obviously we already know Tilly is an absolute superstar, but are there any particular personality traits of hers that you've particularly fallen in love with?
She's very sassy. She knows what she wants. She's very much just like, I'm going to come down when I want to, not when you want to, that sort of thing. So yeah, she likes to do things on her own terms, which is not always convenient for us, but that is part of what working with animals is like. But yeah, she's got a really confident personality. It's really sweet.
Fantastic. Now, where they come from, obviously it's quite a diverse range. Are these guys a threatened species out in the wild?
Yeah, so unfortunately red pandas are listed as endangered out in the wild, so there's not a really clear population count on them because they are so shy and so hard to find out in the wild, and they are found over such a wide area. So there's estimated to be maybe a couple of thousand to 2,500 left in the wild, which isn't very much at all. So yeah, they're facing quite a lot of problems out in the wild, so that's really important that we've got a captive breeding programme. So Tilly has done super well for that, having 5 cubs now for the breeding programme, and this little one is just another little bonus addition, which is really great.
So Cara, what is an international breeding programme?
So captive breeding programme is basically a programme where zoos and other institutions will breed different individuals. We make sure we breed different ones so we can get good genetic diversity in the population. And it's just basically a really good safeguard against extinction, so we are never in danger of losing red pandas completely. So if we did lose them in the wild, then we've still got them. And then obviously the long-term goal of all captive breeding programmes is that one day we'll be able to reintroduce animals back out into the wild once we've sort of restored their habitat and we've got a safe place for them to go.
Brilliant. Now, obviously you touched upon the fact that red pandas are an endangered species. What are the main threats for red pandas out in the wild?
So the biggest one for red pandas these days is deforestation. It's a very common one for most animals. So a lot of the forests are being cut down to make room for more people, for agriculture. Also a lot of locals will cut down forests to make fires to cook their food and to keep warm. Obviously it's a lot colder climate than we have here. And so yeah, it's not always done very sustainably, so we're losing the forest at quite a large rate. So they lose both their habitat and also their food source as well, because the bamboo forests are being cut down as well. But they've also got an issue more with illegal poaching than they ever did before. So before the pandemic, it was not really much of an issue, but since then, their habitat's not been patrolled as much. So people have been reporting more red panda furs being confiscated. So it's gone up to about 1 a week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're not starting with very many red pandas in the first place, it can have a big impact on them. And it was way more than they ever saw before. So hopefully that won't take off too much and we'll be able to get a handle on that, especially now the pandemic's starting to wind down a bit.
Awesome. And what are the main things people can do to try and help red pandas out?
So we support a charity called the Red Panda Network, and they do amazing work out in Nepal, helping to protect the habitat as well as helping with the illegal poaching and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of education for them as well. So we donate obviously to them, so donating to them would be amazing because they do such great work out there, and it all goes towards pandas and towards the locals as well. But yeah, just being mindful of the issues that they face, and then just being mindful of sort of videos and pictures that you might see online of exotic pets like red pandas and other animals, and it's just realising that these animals are normally not kept in a very good environment, and they've normally been taken from the wild. And it's just realising what an issue and what a problem that can be for the wild population.
So for anyone who's watching, firstly, thank you very much for tuning in. But yeah, our main conservation partner for red pandas is the Red Panda Network. So if you do get a chance and you're able to have a look at their website and also check out what they're doing on socials, it'd be really appreciated, because the work they do is absolutely incredible. And between us and the work they're doing, and of course other good zoos supporting them as well, hopefully we can keep red pandas around for generations to come. So moving back onto Little Red, or as it's been dubbed so far, we haven't actually named the red panda cub as of yet. Can you just give a bit of detail as to why we wouldn't have named it yet, and also how long it's going to be before we know the gender and the kind of process that it's going to go through in the early stages of its life?
Yeah, so we haven't named it yet because it's just a bit too early days for us to know the gender, so you can't really tell unless you go in and sort of do a good health check on them. So for the first couple of months we'll just leave it with Tilly, make sure she's comfortable and she's getting on really well. We don't need to do anything, she does it all so well, she's such a great mum. But yeah, within the next month or two we'll do a health check on them as long as Tilly is comfortable with that. And then yeah, we can have a good look of it, give it things like a microchip, and then we'll be able to determine the sex of it. And then yeah, we could start looking at names after that.
Brilliant. And is the cub red like Tilly in coloration at this stage?
It is getting there, yeah. So it's still mixed in with quite a lot of white. So they sort of start off as a pale white, off-white colour. But yeah, they're starting to get its little red stripes on its tail, its little red markings on its face too. So yeah, it is getting there.
Now I know that Tilly's obviously been munching on bamboo this morning, and I can see you've got a fruit pot in your hand. But are these guys strictly herbivores?
No, so they are actually classed as carnivores, so they've got a carnivore digestive system and teeth and everything like that. So in the wild they would eat small prey, so like small birds and small mammals and that sort of thing. So they've got a bit more of a varied diet than say the giant panda would, so they've got a bit more flexibility in that. So we give her mainly bamboo, but we also give her the fruit, and then we've got also some pellet and some panda cake that we give her that's just got a bit more of that nutritional diversity in it. It's just to account for that prey that she'd normally be taking.
Awesome. And what exactly is panda cake?
So panda cake sounds really great. It's really not. It's just a little squishy green substance, and again, it's got all the nutrients and fibre and all that sort of stuff that she needs in it.
Brilliant. And you can just see her looking down at us right now, just keeping an eye, having a munch on her bamboo. Now, obviously, you touched upon the fact that they're carnivores. What kind of meat would these guys get here at the zoo?
So here at the zoo we can feed them a few different things. We just give it to them in small amounts, obviously because they are quite small animals. So Tilly, her favourite is a pigeon head, so she really enjoys that. So yeah, basically any spare things we can get from the carnivore team that they're not using, she'll pretty much have a munch on. But yeah, pigeons are her particular favourite. Yeah,
that is a really diverse diet there. Now, red pandas are famous for being arboreal, which means that they spend virtually their whole life climbing or in trees. Do they have any kind of special adaptations that allows them to be such good climbers?
Yeah, so they've got loads of adaptations. As you say, they spend so much time on the trees, it's really handy. So they've got really sharp claws, so they can grip onto the bark and the branches really well, so she can get on any of these thin branches, no problem whatsoever. She's also got special joints in her back ankles, and this allows them to rotate them about 180 degrees. It's a bit more movement than normal. And again, this just allows her to be a bit more agile up in the tree. It also allows her to climb down the tree head first, which is really handy if you need to get down quickly, if you're being chased by a predator. You're not going to waste your time shimmying down backwards, you are going to absolutely go for it. So yeah, head down first is the quickest way to go. So yeah, they're super agile up in the trees, really good climbers. Yeah,
they're what you call some superpowers. If Marvel or DC are ever thinking of a new superhero, I think Red Panda Man or Red Panda Woman would be pretty good contenders for that. Awesome. Well, Cara, thank you so much for this morning. We really appreciate you answering all the questions that we had about Tilly and obviously her cub. As you can see, Tilly's doing really, really well. Now, as Cara touched upon earlier on in the video, red pandas are an endangered species, sadly, but we're doing a lot of work here at Paradise Wildlife Park with the Red Panda Network. So if anyone's interested in learning more about the threats facing red pandas and what we can do to try and protect them more, then by all means, please go and check out the Red Panda Network website or their socials, and of course the Paradise Wildlife Park website and socials. And of course, if you have a free day in the last few remaining weeks of the summer holidays, then by all means come down to Paradise Wildlife Park to come and see Tilly in person. We've got some fantastic keeper talks which take place throughout the day. The Red Panda talk is at 1 o'clock every day, and yeah, just generally we're trying to raise as much funds and gain as much awareness as we can for red panda conservation. So by all means, do everything you possibly can to help this amazing animal species. All right, thank you very much for tuning in. See you later, Tilly. Thank you very much, Cara.
Thank you.